Purusha. Purusha Prakriti Stohi Punkte Prakriti Jan Gunan Karanam Gunasangasya Sadasat Yoni Janmashu. We are occupying this yantra Rutani Mayaya. This body, it's a vehicle for the soul so that it can interact with matter, so that he can enjoy matter, manipulate matter. So in between matter in the material world and the spirit soul is this body made of subtle and gross elements. So this is a machine. It's a robotic machine, actually. Very high level robotic machine. It's got its own software running. It's gone in every way. Whatever the scientists are trying to do now is already set up. And it's a machine. So in other words, this vehicle we ride, what is this vehicle meant for? Why is it given to us? These are all important million-dollar questions. Who are we? What are we doing here? And why is this situation created? What are we supposed to do? So Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, they all tell us that we are eternally spirit souls, part and parcel of Krishna. We are in this material world on a temporary sojourn. And we have desired material association. And so we are here under the arrangement of the Lord as per our desire. So this body is a vehicle given to us. And life is a yatra itself. It's a journey. It's a journey designed for going back to Godhead. So if the body is a ratha, this is also a ratha yatra, the journey of the soul back to Godhead. And in order to get onto this journey and successfully reach the destination, what we need to do and prepare ourselves with, that is Gundica Marjana. The day before the Ratha Yatra, Lord Chaitanya, he personally went and very meticulously cleaned the whole Gundica temple. It's a very beautiful place. I had the opportunity on one occasion at least to go inside during the festival and witness Lord Jagannath and accept some very dear prasadam. So it's a full of a festive atmosphere, and everybody joins the mood of the Lord. He has left Sri Kshetra and he has come to his mother's place. And there actually signifies Vrindavan. And there his mood is very different. He is in a sweet mood, Madhurya Rasa, enjoying with the Gopas, with the Gopis, with his parents, Nanda and Yashodamai. But in the Sri Kshetra, he is in an opulent mood, in Aishwarya mood. So these moods differ. And here in Gundicha, he's at home. So he's very intimately connected. Of course, the story also goes with the expansive story, where Lakshmi waits for him and says, I'll be back immediately. And he doesn't come at all for the next 8 days. And Lakshmi gets angry on the 5th day. She proceeds from Sri Kshetra to the Gundicha temple. And that is called Hira Panchami. She becomes very angry. She brings her own people with her, and then she attacks the Ratham, breaks the Ratham, and she shouts all sorts of things at the Lord in the Gundicha temple and goes back. So these are so sweet pastimes of the Lord. And people sit and hear these pastimes and take great pleasure in joining the Lord in this Ratha Yatra and in his return, Ulta Rath. So this is the setting. And the day before is Gundicha temple cleaning, Gundica Marjana. Cheto Darpana Marjanam Bhava Mahadhavagni Nirvapanam Shreyah Kairava Chandrika Vitaranam Vidyavadu Jivanam Anandam Budhivardhanam Pratipadam Purnamrita Swadanam Sarvatma Snapanam Param Vijayate Sri Krishna Sankirtanam. Marjana means cleansing. The business of life before going on our Rath Yatra journey back to Godhead. That is for those people who are interested in going. Gundica Marjana is only for people who have got convinced they should take up this journey and go back to Godhead. That is their own Swayam Ratha Yatra they have to do. For those people, it is very relevant. And if I have to go on this journey, there are certain prerequisites. A clean heart. A clean heart where Lord Chaitanya and his associates can come and sit down. Krishna can sit down and occupy. So to create an atmosphere for Krishna consciousness, an atmosphere of Krishna consciousness for Krishna is the business of the aspiring sadhaka. So he should create an atmosphere inside his heart that is filled with the love of Krishna, and it will be conducive for bhakti to grow. So that is what is the Gundica Marjana. So we are going to read the Gundica Marjana's certain portions briefly. Can you remove that, show that Jiva Himsa Kutinati shloka, please? Why is it so dull and so dull? Hello? It's very dull. I cannot read it. The internet is very bad or what? So poor. I think the internet is very... Haribol? Hare Krishna. What is this place? Madhya Nishiddhachara Kutinati Jiva Himsana Labha Puja Pratishtadi Yato Upashakha Gana. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he started cleansing the place. And there were all sorts of people helping and taking part in it. There were people he took along. He put sandalwood paste on their bodies personally. And he gave all of them the supplies from the government, brooms, cleaning equipment, mud pots for bringing water, and entire thing was done. And then everybody got to cleaning. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu personally started cleaning. And he cleaned it so thoroughly. Every nook and corner, every small hole, he took out all the dirt and brushed it, took all the dust away, and then flushed it with water, and then scrubbed so that it will be completely clean. Systematically he did. First he did dry cleaning and removed all the dust and everything. And when he had thoroughly removed all the dust, then he used water, and using water he cleaned the whole place. And in this way, he was totally cleaning the place. So, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's this particular Leela illustrates many, many things. Unfortunately, the internet, I don't know, is very low. I don't know whether I'm being heard and seen or whatever. Here itself, I can see it's very dull. I can't even read. However, so I should put off my video if necessary. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he is here saying that he inspires everybody to clean the place. And he says that I will understand how much you have cleaned depending on the quantity of dirt that you have dumped outside. According to that, I'll understand how sincerely you have cleaned, how much carefully you have cleaned. So this is the measure that the amount of dirt you bring out, that much you're relieved of the dirt within your system. Cheto Darpana Marjana means cleansing of our mind, cleansing of our consciousness. This is the main business of a devotee. There are a lot of dirty things inside, and that we should acknowledge. Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Moha, Mada, Matsarya. These are all the general contaminations. But there is other things deeper down under each one of these folders. There are various other types of things underneath. Nishiddhachara, Kutinati, Jivahimsa, all these things that I mentioned here. These are very, very important things for us to know. Nishiddha Achar. What you should not do. Nishedh. What is Vidhi and Nishedh? Vidhi means what you should do. Nishedh means what you should not do. Nishiddha Achar means that type of behavior which is unacceptable for your bhakti lata to grow, for devotional service to be enacted. Kutinati means actually using a very subtle form of politics against devotees, especially against Vaishnavas. So these things are explained. By default, we all have the tendency to do these things. We land up in the material world, and by association, karanam gunasangasya, sadasat yoni janmashu, we come with various conditionings. And then in our association with all these different types of personalities, we pick up all sorts of, bad association. And because of that, we actually get contaminated. And those contaminations have to be removed. If they are not removed, we cannot get pure bhakti to the Lord. Pure devotion will not be attained if we don't cleanse ourselves. So this Gundica Marjana pastime shows what all you can cleanse off. And therefore, it's very important for us to carefully understand what this means. So, Haribol, where is can you show the screen, the shloka, please? What is the number of the shloka? I can't see anything. Can I at least hear the number of the shloka? Which is Madhya Leela? Can somebody tell me what is the number of the shloka? 12.79. Where is that Nishiddhachar shloka that you put up? The Nishiddhachar Jivahimsa shloka, Prabhuji. 12.79 is not that. Anup, can you put up that Nishidachar shloka? That is the shloka that I asked for.
Maharaj, that is from another chapter, Maharaj.
Whatever chapter it is, please put it up. What is the number of this?
19.159.
It takes so long to do these things right in the middle of the program. Chapter 19.159. I'll read from 157. Tate mali yatna kori kore avarana aparada hastrayayi chena hoya utkama. The gardener must defend the creeper by fencing it all around so that the powerful elephant of offenses may not enter. So, this is a description of, these are the shlokas that we wanted. See, everybody is planting bhakti in the heart, or getting his heart planted with bhakti seed. And that is growing. Growing that is a great responsibility of the sadhaka. Growing it very carefully. So we have to water it. We have to remove the weeds. We have to protect it by a fencing around it. These are all the things that are mentioned here. It's a very interesting analogy on how you should grow bhakti. Bhakti is a cultivation, Prabhupada mentions in Nectar of Devotion. Cultivation means activity. And this activity is not outside, this activity is an internal activity. Growing and protecting the creeper of bhakti is the great responsibility for that person. That's why we should be very, very carefully growing it. And it is very tender. It's just sprouted from a seedling and it is just coming out. And at that time, it requires a maximum protection. So building a fence around it, taking out unnecessary weeds, pouring water, protecting it from excessive sun, and all those things is what a farmer would do. Similarly, a devotee also should grow the bhakti creeper with great care and attention. One thing is we become very busy with the things outside, our physical devotional service, our other aspects of everything. But we should never forget to be deeply rooted in this aspect and activity of cultivating our devotional creeper. Whatever you do outside must be great, but they won't stand unless you perform this cultivation inside with great care. So what we do outside should be a byproduct of what we are doing inside. That's very important for us to know. So we should never take this lightly. So it is like a gardener planting a seed and growing it. And the fruit is love of God. So Lord Chaitanya mentioned that he is a gardener, Mali. And he grows this and he wants to distribute this love of God. This is another parallel example. It's not the same example. But we have our duty to grow our tree of devotional service and then enjoy that fruit. And for that, we need to work. So don't think that it happens automatically. The mercy of the Lord is already available, but you need to exercise yourself to access and enjoy that mercy. The simple thing is like your karma is already good. You already have wealth. But in order to actually enjoy that wealth, you need to go to the bank, get the money, keep it safely, go to the mall, go to the grocery store, go to that, go to this, go to the whatever, and buy the products, buy those things that are going to help you to enjoy life. That work you have to do. So Lord Chaitanya's mercy is there. It's like saying that I have already come under the umbrella. But there's a little amount of work you have to do inside yourself that Lord Chaitanya is not going to come and do inside you. Sometimes people think this is automatic. It's not automatic to this extent. This aspect of it, you have to work at. You have to actually very carefully watch your devotional service by reading, by associating with others. It's a deep understanding. And you need to push yourself deep. The deeper the foundation, the more firmly will you stand tall. Right? So our internal understanding and our growth goes very deep. This is instruction Lord Chaitanya gave to Amogha. You know, when Amogha, he offended Lord Chaitanya when Lord Chaitanya came to visit Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya's house. And Amogha was the husband of Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya's daughter. He came and he made a comment about Lord Chaitanya eating so many things. And Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya expected he would come and do this, so he kept a stick and ready to chase him. As soon as he came, somehow, he was too absorbed in serving Lord Chaitanya. He came and he saw and he started commenting. And that's the time he observed and he ran behind him with a stick. And Lord Chaitanya started laughing that this sounded so funny to him. Then he said all sorts of things at him and ran behind him. And he ran away. But what happened is that he contacted cholera. And Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya decided I should not go and see him. Let him die. Let my daughter become a widow. Both Sarvabhauma and his wife thought so. And that was bad. But they were determined not to help out. That was something very surprising to most people. But he had become such a devotee of Lord Chaitanya. Lord Chaitanya heard about it and knew that this is not right. That in his fanatic mode, he may actually pave the way for this boy to die. So he went to his house and he loaded his hands on his chest. He was sleeping on the bed, completely sick. And he put his hands on Amogha's chest and he told him, Amogha was almost going to pass away. And he told him, Amogha, the heart is a place for Krishna. Don't harbor these enviousness, lust, greed, and everything and spoil that place. My dear Amogha, you chant Hare Krishna and you become free from these things. And Amogha started chanting. His life came back and he started jumping and dancing on his bed. And then he actually came down and paid obeisances to Lord Chaitanya. And he cried at the lotus feet of Lord Chaitanya as to how offensive he had been and how the Lord had, saved him. His heart completely changed. And he was embraced by Lord Chaitanya. And he said, henceforth, you should be a nice devotee. Gave him blessings. And the Lord went to Sarvabhauma's house. And Sarvabhauma said, why did you go to him? Let him die. You shouldn't have done this. And the Lord corrected him and said, no, you should show mercy. He's like your son. He has changed now. He has become a devotee. This way, Lord Chaitanya illustrated that our business in life is to take advantage of Lord Chaitanya's mercy and cleanse ourselves. This is the most important thing we should look at every day. Every morning, we should have an assessment of what we have done and what needs to be done inside in terms of cleansing it. Nishitachar, Kutinati, Jiva, Himsa, all these things. You see, we should be carefully, systematically go about it. And there's a lot of information available on this. Unfortunately, today, because of this internet thing, I'm not able to access properly. Haribol. So, sadhana means cleansing your heart. Sadhana means cleansing your heart. And that's very important for us to know. Sadhana is not something that we do like that and finish it off for the day and get along and do other things. Sadhana is just something that you may do it and you must be aware of it. And the rest of the time, you should actually reflect on the nature of this world, reflect on Krishna consciousness, reflect on my own situation, and in this way, gradually make progress in cleansing ourselves. Cheto Darpana Marjanam. And the greatest tool we have been given is the chanting of the holy name. Simply by chanting without offenses, very carefully, one can cleanse the heart. In fact, there is no other way. So Bhakti Kripa goes best when it is watered by the chanting, by pure chanting, right? So we chant Hare Krishna, we should have very good disposition towards other devotees. And whatever situation we may be in, by the arrangement of the Lord, we should always try to depend on Krishna. So these are a few reflections on the day of Gundica Marjana, the day before Rath Yatra. We should prepare ourselves for the Rath Yatra festival by deeply reflecting on these things. What is it that is difficult for me? What is it that stops my devotional service? What is it that stands in my devotional service, in the way of my devotional service, right? And we should pick that out and work on each one of them and remove it. Denial of the fact that you have these things inside you is very common. The human being is hardwired for denying any mistake that is pointed out about him. That we must understand. Our first reaction is no, it's not like that. It's not like that. This is our default reaction. But a devotee, he is very happy if he is criticized and things are pointed out. Because who will do it in this world normally? Everybody wants to keep up very good artificial relationships. Only a person who's genuinely interested in you will say this is wrong. We should change this, right? And to get somebody to say that to us is our greatest fortune. It's our greatest fortune. And devotees in a society should happily help each other to take an audit of each one's spiritual status. And from their perception, at least, we should understand. It may be true, may not be true sometimes. But it is always good for us to know what's wrong. It's like going to a spiritual astrologer. We go to an astrologer and find out materially what are all our advantages, what are our disadvantages. But going to a devotee and telling him, tell me what's wrong with me. What are the mistakes? What are my impediments? And he tells you these are this thing. That is a genuine guru. And he tells you if you want to know, it's going to be hurting you a lot. But this is what is wrong. And in his, analysis lies all our good fortune. So having somebody to tell us what is right, what is wrong, and give us practical instructions, that is the greatest fortune. That's the greatest fortune. So a pure devotee speaks without any compromise, without mincing words. He says, this could be a problem for you, for achieving pure devotion to Krishna. In a society where we don't discuss these deep things, and we just superficially talk about some material things and keep up good relationships, we don't have depth in that society. We may have width in that society, but no depth. Depth means everybody becomes very interested in cultivating their Krishna Bhakti. Everybody is meticulously working on it. And everybody is open to criticism and good advice. And they're willing to lap it up. But any praise and everything for a material thing is not something very interesting to a devotee. So this is the meaning of a real devotee. So today is a day to actually take an audit of ourselves on Gundica Marjana. Where am I? One should go to his mentor, go to his counselor, and sit down and talk to him. What do you think is good, my strengths and my weaknesses to achieve Krishna Bhakti? You know, do a SWOT analysis of your situation, your coordinates in your spiritual life. And you get an input from that. And every year, if you do that during Gundicha Marjana, you will know how you're progressing or not progressing. Accordingly, you can take action, right? So we should prepare ourselves for the real final yatra of life. And therefore, these things are important. Hare Krishna, Jai Shri Prabhupada ki.